Alrighty, so today we're going to be looking at the new Transcendent Skoll and Hati, which is floor 4 of the dogs. I've been messing around with it for like the last 2 hours-ish, and there's definitely some RNG involved, not a lot compared to floor 4 of the deer, which is, I'm very thankful for that, of course. This is obviously the next step past the deer, so it's going to be pretty hard, but at the same time, I've been getting kind of used to the mechanics. More or less, it just becomes a little bit of RNG on card draw more than anything, which I guess is kind of similar to the deer in a way. This is the team that we're going to be using. Shout out to Leone99. That's the guy whose video that I ended up watching to sort of get the mechanics down for the fight and use this team specifically because it's kind of like the fast farm team, I guess, for the match or for this mode. But I've seen a couple of other teams where they use LR Roxy in this place, and there's a couple of other variations here and there. But this is the one that I've been using, so this is the one that I'm kind of used to at the moment. So shout out to him. I'm going to leave a link to his video down in the description if you want to check it out. It's like 4 minutes long, and he has it like the gameplay is kind of sped up, and he has just like the text on the screen to kind of explain things. So it's just a lot simpler. If you want to go that route, definitely check it out. But overall, I like this fight a little bit more than the deer just because of how fast it kind of is. I think ideally, if you can get a perfect run, I think you would only need like 7 of your turns to actually beat this thing, like 2 turns for each of the phases, and then 2 turns for the first 2 phases, 3 turns hopefully for the last phase if all goes well. So gear that we're going to be using is HP crit defense for the right and left units, which are Nasians and Red Thonar. Obviously I haven't used Red Thonar in a while. Her damage is pretty pitiful other than her ultimate, but you're using her for stance cancel, and she's boosted for this fight as well. Nasians is just a really good support unit, so he's also really nice to have on here because he also gets a stance cancel, and he has a heal card which can come in handy from time to time, and his ultimate is really, really nice for the last fight, or last phase. Damage dealer is basically just the new Merlin Escanor character. Obviously the April Fool's sort of art is going right now, so they won't look like this forever. But the third character is kind of like a DPS sort of utility character, and that is LR Lilia, which is nice because you're going to need her AoE for the last phase. So let's go ahead and kind of hop in. We're using the deer card set, which is the same one that people were using for the dogs to begin with, so nothing new there. But overall, the fight's not crazy, but it can get kind of like hard in some spots, and if you don't get good Escanor card pulls, you won't be able to beat it as fast as you maybe want to, which can be the biggest issue overall. But you know, that's just kind of the name of the game. This is going to be something that you're going to have to farm a lot to get all of your Holy Relic upgrades, so you want to kind of get good with it. I'm still not great. This is the only day so far that I've actually been messing with it so far, so there might be some mess up here. We're going to try to explain as much as I can. First turn, don't use your talent just yet. Save that for the second turn. We're going to target the Sun Dog or White Dog. He's kind of yellow now, so I've been calling him Sundog. But we're going to use a stance cancel card first. We're going to throw away some of these single target cards to get some damage on the board, as well as just clear some hand space. Obviously, you need to get rid of the stance so that way you can target the other dog. You can't rely on AoEs forever. The reason why we're saving the talent is because he's actually going to use a buff card on his first phase, and his first turn, and that's going to make it to where they have a lot more defense stats, and it just makes them harder to kill. So you definitely want to avoid that if at all possible. Make sure that you have extra stance cancels if you need them, but depending on your card draw, you might be able to finish these phases in 2 turns, which is ideal. The longer that you're on these phases, the more they're going to put these little buffs on you. I don't have, or they're debuffs, but they're gray. I don't have any on at the moment, but if they put these debuffs on you, I think there's different ones depending on which phase you're on, and they basically are a minus 5% all stats, and then if they stack up to 5, bad things happen. So I think, I'm not exactly sure how it works just yet, but I know that they put a gray stun debuff on that you can't get rid of, and there's also a red blind debuff that they can put on you, which makes it to where you can't, like when you attack, they miss. So that's also incredibly bad. So, honestly, one Escanor card should do it here, the single target. So because I don't need to, make sure that you're saving the Lilia AoE card here. At the beginning of each of these phases, your cards are going to rank up, so that's going to be really easy to get this to level 3. You want to, at level 3, at least one of these cards in your hand, so that way you can get rid of the damage cap that's going to be really annoying in the last phase. So let's go ahead and get rid of some cards here. I'm going to go ahead and use the heal card to buff up some basic stats. Let's go ahead and just attack with Escanor. I can get rid of this card, and then I don't need these extra Nasians cards, so I'm going to go ahead and throw that away as well. Make sure you have one stance cancel in your hand for phase 2. Hopefully you won't need 2 of them, but you know, sometimes things go bad, so you know, a little bit of RNG here and there. Overall, though, if you can get good RNG, the fight is pretty fast, pretty simple. Obviously, kind of same thing with the first phase here. We're just going to target the opposite dog now that he's the big one that you actually want to kill. We are going to remove the stance. I'm tempted to waste this, but at the same time, maybe I'll save it for now. Let's go ahead and use a single target, an AoE, and then I think I am going to go ahead and waste this. Lilia got the attack disable on her, so it would be nice to not have to deal with that. You might want to save the heal card for the second phase if you really want to make sure that, like, if Escanor gets attack sealed, you can cleanse that off because he's going to be the one you're dealing most of your damage with. We're in a really good spot here. Even if he ended up putting the stance back on, I should be able to kill with another Escanor AoE. So we're in a good spot. Make sure that you get your Nasian's ultimate for going into phase 3, because phase 3 has a ton of debuffs that you really don't want to deal with, and you're going to need those extra, like, attack stats and stuff like that to be able to deal decent damage to the bosses. So I think I'm actually good to save the Escanor card as well. These 2 cards alone should kill here. I can go ahead and waste that, and then I'm not going to be able to get any ultimate move gauge, so we'll just go ahead and move on. So far, this is looking like a good run. The big RNG factor for this phase right here, just at the beginning, not even like a mechanic that you have to worry about necessarily, but their ultimate move gauge. We got bad RNG here. You can see that the white dog is getting a lot of ultimate move gauge. The blue dog is only getting 1. There is potential for him to merge cards in his hand and get extra ultimate move gauge, but you need both dogs to have at least 3 ult gauge before you can get rid of their damage cap. So let's go ahead and use Nasian's ultimate. I think we're going to go ahead and just waste the Thonar cards because we don't need them. Watch out for the single target because it does have deplete on it. You want to make sure that you keep the dogs to where they can get 3 ultimate move gauge. I guess technically if I really wanted to, we could remove the ultimate move gauge from the white dog, and then I'm going to throw out one of these Escanor cards because I don't want to clog my hand with those. Like, it's nice to have them because you need to kill both dogs on the same turn, but at the same time I want to worry about a little bit of card draw as well. So we shall see how this goes. They have a 5% damage cap. This is a ridiculous damage cap. Suppressed damage taken cannot exceed 5% of max HP. So you're going to need to get rid of that if you want to beat this in any sort of timely manner. This guy extorts, so you want to make sure you have the debuff immunity for that. He also has a card that will cancel buffs as well, so that can be kind of troublesome. Most of the time he attacks my Nasians. I think that's dependent on your stats, so he could end up going for another character on yours. These are the buffs I was talking about, Moonwave and Sunwave. They're minus 5%, which are not crazy, but they stack up to 5, and once you hit 5, they do some really bad stuff. So at this point, we're going to have to stall one more turn because we need him to have 3 ultimate move gauge, so we got a little unlucky with that. At this point, he has the adaptation and taunt, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that with the talent here, so we can go ahead and get past that with no issues. And then I think we're just going to... We don't have our... I think they canceled our entire team here. I'm not entirely sure. Oh, actually, I remove it with my talent, so that might have been better to save for the next turn. I kind of screwed myself a little bit there without remembering, but let's go ahead and get rid of some of these cards in hand. I don't have anything removing ultimate move gauge, so I don't have to worry about that, but they can start to deal some big damage, and you're going to see them put on some really harsh debuffs. I think there's attack-related stat debuffs. I think they put on some ignites, and then I think they also have the random ones where it's like attack seals certain characters, this and that. So Nasian's got attack sealed. That's probably best case scenario because he doesn't even have an attack card. Removing some of his ultimate move gauge. That can be kind of troublesome sometimes, but overall, it's looking okay. We did survive. This is not ideal. It would have been better to probably save the Nasian's buffs there, but I'm probably going to be able to get away with it here. We're going to use the ultimate move gauge drain from Lilia. This removes 3 orbs from both units, and that should remove the damage suppression. And then we can actually use Escanor here to put a shield on our whole team, another Escanor AoE card, and then he's technically a little bit lower. I don't think that we're going to kill this turn either way, but we're just going to get some damage out regardless. So that removes the damage suppression. Put a shield on ourselves with that. This is going to deal damage cap on both of them. I don't actually think Lilia would do damage cap. Oh, that's really, really bad. So now the white dog is going to be in the perfect spot to absolutely destroy us here. I don't know. I think he gets a big stat buff, so I don't actually know if we're going to be able to kill here. Okay, that worked out the best it possibly could have, but really you want to make sure that you're putting both dogs down at the same time. That sounded terrible. I don't like the term put dogs down. But either way, that was a pretty clean run overall. There wasn't a whole lot of hiccups there. Make sure that you don't do what I did and remove your own buffs with Nasian's ultimate with the talent from Escanor. You probably want to save that if you're not going in on the next turn. But not too bad. There's a lot of hiccups that you can hit here as you sort of run the fight over and over again. You're going to realize what works, what doesn't work, when you need to use certain things, and when you need to not use certain things. But I've beat it enough to where I have 2 upgraded relics. I went ahead and put Thonar's relic up with the Skoll and Hati materials, and I went ahead and did Lilia's just because I'm using those both for the fight. And if this is the team that I'm going to be farming it with, I might as well get the best stats I can for that. So overall, it's not really, really bad. It can go bad pretty fast if you're not paying attention to what you're doing, but yeah, I like this one more than the deer so far. I like the dogs in general, and I just like Ragnarok content, so glad we got this. Obviously, there's a lot of grinding that you're going to need to do to max all these holy relics out now again, but you know, something new to grind, something new to mess with, and yeah, hopefully it's not too bad for you guys. If you have other teams that are working for you that are more consistent, maybe faster, who knows? I don't know exactly what the best teams are just yet because this came out this week, but feel free to leave those in the comments below. Maybe it'll help somebody else out if they need those teams, or obviously I have a really good box. I just hit 22 mil, so obviously things might not go for you as smooth as they went for me. So either way, thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the update. I'm really liking King. I'm really liking this new content so far, even though it can get pretty tedious, but overall pretty good stuff. So thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want. I'll see you guys later.